a plane and just oh, it's okay. One of the girls, Monica, she owns a few hundred acres in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and she flew her plane down here the other day just to give me a hug. Like, and then you have Rachel Ryan, who's running cattle. It's just like the world opened up to me to know that I wasn't so alone in the space that I love and that I've learned. So it's really the fellowship and the camaraderie and learning like what other people are doing in their industry. That has been the absolute biggest game changer because forever I will always say it's all in who you surround yourself with. And I know that so many people, it's almost overused. Oh, it's who you surround yourself with and what tables you sit at. But it really is true. It's who you are connecting with on a different level and who you're letting speak into your life and who you're trying to implement your business like. That is really the game changer in everyone's life and their business because it isn't always business first. It's our relationships, it's our relationship with God, it's however, it's everything else and business. And so with this land and ranch crew, it's the tools have been great, but the camaraderie and the relationships that I've built on that have been, I hate to say like it almost seems cheesy, but it has been life changing. It's been absolutely life changing for sure.
Well, and what's interesting for me too, and I'm going to say this to everybody because I know Dee Dee's got some memberships that EXP offers, and it doesn't matter what brokerage you're at. It doesn't matter if it's some kind of third party, something you sign up for, or it's within your brokerage. So I have made it a point to interact with you, and when I was at EXP Con, I like followed the land and ranch people around because that was like the big thing for me that I wanted to learn about.
Yeah.
But I still haven't even plugged into like regular meetings with y'all or anything like that. And it's on my list. I mean, it's been this year has just
Yeah.
blinked and it's gone by, and then we had events and all this crap. I hate it. But you have to plug in, right? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I do see the benefit of it already just from me being able to have several listings where I won the listing because they were like small acreage and I got to show them like the sexy tools, right?
Yes.
But I
Hmm.
think what you just said is the key. You can have all the tools in the world, but you have to plug in and you have to, I hate to say exploit, but you're taking advantage of in a positive way the relationships and the knowledge base that you have with these people. And I want to just compliment you right now too because we have such an open company.
Yeah.
We really do. I mean, we have such an amazing culture that people like you are willing to. If I called you tomorrow and needed to ask you for advice, you'd be on the phone with me, no, and you wouldn't even hesitate.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And that is why I do love this company so much is that whenever I was with my previous brokerage, I was with them for 5, almost 6 years. It was almost just like everything was so gatekept there. It's I didn't want to share, they didn't want to share their secrets because they looked at everyone else in that office space as a competitor. But that is something that's so different with our company. And why I love it so much is that we all are here, that we have nothing financially to gain from each other's success, but we truly want to see each other succeed. And that was something I dreamed about real estate whenever I was like, I really hope it was that way. And it wasn't at the beginning for me in my career. It was like I got to elbow my way up to the table and prove my self-worth. But with this company, it is truly something different. It truly is like, collaborate over the competition aspect of it, is that we want to see each other succeed. And I love that so much because I can pick and choose who I want to be in the circle to grow with me. I get to choose who I want to have my mentors. And it doesn't have to be in my downline or in my office space or wherever. I can call up you guys to say, hey, can you be my accountability for a month? And then you're 100% in. I love what Amanda did with her accountability group. She just grew it to just an insane amount of people to all be on the same page. And that's what it's about, is like really the creating your own mastermind and creating your own group of people that you want to run with. And that's what I love about us. I know I could go on all day about that, but it really that's been my life-changing moment for me in this career.
I
It's so
love that.
empowering to like walk into an appointment and know that if you don't know the answer, you've got someone who does. Like,
Yes.
I've got
Yeah.
Miss Ross on my phone. Like if
Yeah.
I can call her. And I think that like we just came back from Cabo and they said something that was powerful. They said there's not one problem that anyone in this room could have, either business wise, family wise, health wise, marketing wise, that another person in this room can't solve for them. And we're all open books. And they talked about how let's say a tree is, sick, right? Or a plant is sick and it's not growing at the way that we want it to grow, or its leaves look a little drier. It's not, as enthusiastic as it should be. We
Yeah.
don't check the leaf, we check the soil. We check the environment that
Yes,
plant.
yes, yes. I love that. That was so great. That was
Yeah,
a
and
great
I'm like,
compliment.
that's us. We're like in this great environment with
Yeah.
people, and like
Yeah.
that's why we're growing so well. So
Yes.
this is awesome.
I love that. Yeah, it's always, checking the soil. That I think that we learned that in Atlanta, I think, right? Because I remember writing that down in my book and I was just like, that was so trite, right? Right. You're not looking at branches or the leaves, you're looking at its environment to grow. And we are really in that environment. That's why I'm here. That's why I've been able and I'm just in the beginning of achieving what I want to. But that is why we're here. It's because we're intentionally are putting ourselves in the environment to grow with people that have that same mindset.
So what's next
So,
for
oh,
you?
go ahead.
Oh,
Go.
sorry. I'm so excited. My Wi-Fi is back.
Yay!
Good.
Wait, what is next for you? So you work in the entire state. You're always driving around. You're listing, land and ranches, and you're subdividing, and you're working with investors now, and you're kind of teaching them how you do what you do. What would be like a crazy success story for you at the end of this year?
I love that. It's really just building out my network. So I do know that there is a certain bandwidth of what I can do. I'm a mom, a wife, and then I'm traveling all the time with this land, and I love what I do. But it's really just building the network of people that I know that I can trust. I do work on a different level than a lot of folks here locally do, and that's no shade on them. It's just that I know that I can do a lot and I can accomplish a lot. And finding people that have that same bandwidth is really super hard. And I love the people in this group because you're here because you want to do this, that you're working really hard to do the same. And so my big success and my big win would be growing out that network, like growing, out my organization to have those people to help. Because I'm, 100 to 110 transactions a year now, and that is a lot and I love it. And but there's a certain point that I'm like, okay, well, I got to grow this out a little more because I'm only one person. So just me and my transaction coordinator currently. We have a small organization of agents, but none of them are here in South Carolina. They're all out, across the United States doing other land deals. So um, yeah, my long-winded answer is growing out my organization.
It's funny because you and Amanda, y'all transact more than I do, but I still do quite a bit. And so I sit here and look at the three of us and go, I think a lot of people would say, how do you handle it? Do we work like 90
Yeah.
hours a week? Um, so for an agent that maybe doesn't want to do 110 transactions a year, but maybe wants to do like 40 to 60-ish, and do them without having to necessarily grow a team, which I think is what, for me, I've developed an attitude that is like a misnomer in this industry, that you have to literally go from single agent to running a team is like your next stepping stone.
Yeah.
How do you advise an agent who wants to up their production by transaction count? Because honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's a $25,000 transaction or 500,000. It takes the same amount of steps and energy pretty
100%.
much.
Mhm.
Usually the lower ones take more. Um,
Yeah.
what did you do to get to that volume and be able to handle it as well as you are? I know, no, it's not easy, by the way, right? Would you
Yeah.
and Amanda both agree with me that it's not, nobody should look at us and think that
No.
we do this and it's just like in our sleep kind of thing. But what do you talk to the agent that's doing 15 to 30 transactions? What do they do to get to 40 plus
Yeah.
by
Well,
themselves?
yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, none of it's easy. During doing 30 transactions and doing 100 transactions, it's all in how, I mean, it's a lot of work. And you're right, not everyone wants to do 100, and I don't blame you. It's a lot. But I will say that having a transaction coordinator, it was my game changer. I was told very early on in my career that I needed one. I couldn't afford one. I needed every single penny that I could make. But I didn't realize that by having her freed up time for me to do more business. That was something mentally I had to kind of get over. And she gets paid when I get paid now. So I don't pay her hourly or weekly. It's whenever it closes and I get paid. And then simultaneously, I am paying her immediately at that time. So that was super helpful for me. But yeah, just knowing that if you're at 30 transactions now and you want to grow your business, you can't continue to grow your business by doing all the back end paperwork and trying to grow your business and trying to promote yourself and trying to like all the things. You can't wear all the hats. One analogy that I love that was said recently, and I hate referring to ourselves as like doctors, but whenever you walk into a doctor's office, if the doctor was there to greet you, if he was there to answer the phone, if he was there to write up your chart, if he was there to do everything, you would have a different view of who he is as a professional. But as professionals, if we have someone that's helping us, with the paperwork on the back end, even if it's just the paperwork, we're not doing every single step, that's freeing up our time to help other people. So that would be my huge takeaway, or my huge um, suggestion would be to get that transaction coordinator, and just having someone that is like-minded with you and that fits your personality, because you don't want to have someone that's so drastically different contacting your clients and they're like, who is this person? Why are they talking to me like that? She's very much like me, but she's very analytical and very organized. I am not. I am neither of the two, but our personalities are the same. So that's my thing.
So what all does she do for you as far, because sometimes people think TC and it's just like that compliance piece, but I think yours must do a little more than that for you, or you wouldn't be able
Yep.
to do what you do.
100%. So, well, she inputs all my listings. She takes from contract to close. She gives all of my sellers a market update every single week. She gives, she contacts all my lenders, all my attorneys. We're an attorney state here. She is contacting the other agent. Like, she is like their main point of contact after we go under contract. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm not still staying in contact with them. They hired me. They didn't hire her, so they're still hearing from me. But yes, she is in Sky Slope. She isn't a Sky Slope TC, but she's my own TC here locally, that works remotely, just like we all do. And but yeah, she handles everything, all the updates, all the attorneys, like she handles everything. So basically, I just get to show up and say, hey, I heard Cheyenne gave you a great update. Is there anything that you need from me this week? I mean, it's so easy. Like I just kind of walk in. I would like to hear her, although she is. So.
Did you have to train her to do that extra stuff because a lot of TCs don't, or did she already do all that stuff?
She didn't do that. So actually, she was a mom of my daughter's best friend, and we just happened to just really connect. And she was a hotel manager at a Hilton here, and so she was very like on. She could just handle any problem. And I think if you can be a hotel manager, you could probably do anything in the whole life, or you could run the world.
Right.
And so I just said, hey, in your free time, would you like to just do this part time? Well, a few months later, we were just so busy that she ended up quitting that because she wanted to be at home with her kids more and take her kids to school and, all those fun stuff. So she quit that. And I thought, oh my gosh, the pressure's on. She's quit her job and now she's solely depending on me to do, to pay her bills. And now 5 years into it, she's still rocking and rolling. And I've introduced her to other agents. So she has other agent partners as well. But that was another moment too. When other people are depending on you to pay their mortgage, whew, a little bit of pressure, but it's good. It's a good thing.
What a blessing though, because she took off, like the low leverage activities, if you will. So you could do what only you can do. And then
Yeah,
she, like you were like, oh, you're doing me a favor, but really you gave her a blessing because she could stay at home with her kids and build a life
100%.
fine.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. And she's a wonderful person. I literally couldn't do it without her. And I make sure that she understands how much she's appreciated too. I don't just pay her for the transaction. Like, we do a lot of things together, and I appreciate her in a lot of different ways. Financially, I try to show her as much as I can. So she changed my world, and, I can only do so much to give her, to show her that back.
So we're starting this like vibe of how you can build a life by design through real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you're kind of building that right now. Can you kind of share how real estate has changed the way that you function as far as life goes, or I mean EXP in general, or how does what you do now compare to what you did before, and how does life look? I know you're way busier, but are you
Way
happy?
busier, but yes. So I've been able to do a lot for my family. So I grew up in a very just humble household. We were homeless at a moment when I was young, and we never got to have like the annual Disney World trips like everyone else gets to do these days. And we didn't go out to eat every night. We were lucky if we got to have like a Bojangles box of chicken on Sunday. So very humble beginning. So my whole goal of why I want to do well and do better is for my family. So every year, for a holiday, either whether it be Thanksgiving or Christmas, I rent out like the biggest house that I can find and has the most amenities. And I treat my whole family to that. And I mean, I pay for everything. They don't have to, all they have to do is pack their bag and show up. And I wouldn't have been able to do that had I just continued to do bartending, or the very least of what I could do. I just made it very intentionally whenever I got into this that I was going to change the trajectory of my family's life. And the moment that was an aha moment for me, and I will not get emotional, and it sounds so silly, but it was when I was able to take my family to Disney World. And I was like, man, my whole life I wanted to do that, my whole life. And then we pull into Disney World, it's the big arch across there, and I was like, I was bawling. And my kids were like, yeah, Disney World. And I'm just a mess. And I was like, I did it. You know what I mean? Like that was that moment. I was like, I did it. And that whole time, like we didn't, I said I was like emotional, but the whole time, like I was able to like pay for everything, and not worry about what dollar was going here and there. And I was like, this is it. Like, and if I can encourage anyone to do that, like do that one wild thing that is going to set your soul on fire, because you'll always remember that moment. And you're like, this is it. Like, this is why I'm doing this. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. We're all crying.
We have a trend of making people cry on this.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I got to charge my phone or it's going to die on us.
It's what we do. But that's why we do what we do, right? Is to make
Yes.
those moments. I actually had that with my brother last week. He was like, "Oh, I'm going to get this." He's like, "Oh, we're in Houston. I want to get this spaghetti." I'm like always craving this spaghetti. It's so good. And he went to get it and it was $4, but it was an extra $4 to add the meatball. And he's like, I'm not going to add the meatball because I'm not going to pay $4 for the meatball if the noodles were.
Yeah.
And I was like, wouldn't it be nice to just get the meatball and not have to worry about what it costs? Or like you go, our joke now is get the guac. Like you go to a Mexican restaurant and it's
Yeah. Yes.
the guac. And so that's I think what I'm so passionate about. I think you are too, is helping realtors build, because they're hard workers. It's not like we're lazy. We're on here and we're grinding and we're learning,
Yeah.
pouring into ourselves for personal development. We're doing all the right things, but to be able to build a life by design to where you can take your family to Disney World, or you can rent the big house
Yeah.
where you can go see snow for Christmas, and you can create those memories and change generations, because now they're like, oh, if Jess can do this, then me
Yeah.
in 10 or 20 years, I can do this. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think then, and like I said, it's funny because there's so many people in my circle that do the Disney World thing every year, and I'm sure, I'm sure there's a point in someone's like, well, it's just Disney World, but it was such a moment for me that I always say it's a touch and feel it thing. If you have this dream of aspiration, whatever it may be, if you can just get a taste of it, you can always go back to that moment. I mean, I have the picture up here on my wall of that moment that we walked in. And on those days, I'm like, I just don't feel like doing it today. Because I promise you, it doesn't matter how big your goals are or how much you're passionate about. There's going to be a week or a day that you're like, I just don't know if I want to do this anymore. And then I get to see that. And I'm like, okay, that was a moment that really turned it around for me, like emotionally, because you got to be emotionally attached to those goals and your why. And no matter what it is. And then that with this land, been able to niche down and grow even more, it's just kind of all just kind of full circle for me. So yeah.
How do you, and if somebody asked me this question, I'm not putting you on the spot because
Okay.
I don't think I'd have a good answer. And I think you and I are a lot alike and are probably our disc profiles. How do you connect, like literally, like your tactical approach to connecting to your why? Do you do like a vision board? Do you just know what it is? Do you just ride on that feeling from Disney every day? Do you talk
Yeah,
about like how do people make that connection? And do you wake up every day doing some specific activities that tie back to your big why?
that's a great question. So I do a prayer walk, thought a prayer walk or grateful walk every morning. So I live 1 mile to the beach. So I walk to the ocean every single day. And during that walk, I'm, on the way there, it's usually a prayer of just like, thank you, God, for everything you have in my life. Thank you for all the challenges and all the stepping stones and all the things. And it kind of puts me back into the mindset of just why I'm doing this. And so that's one thing that I start my morning off with. But every year at Thanksgiving, I write what's called a prophecy letter. And that is what my whole year is going to look like as if it's already happened. So for it was so cool to read it for 2025 because so many things came true. And I would just highlight every time something would come true, I'm highlighting in that letter. But that helps you figure out what your why, because if you're writing how you want your next year to look like as if it's already happened, you know what's important, because it's not just business. You're tying it into the trips that you want to take for your family, or the you know whatever the goals that you have for your personal life as well as business. It kind of all ties it in together. I don't think that your why needs to be just one thing.
Yeah.
And it changes so often. I mean, I have my little this is like a little high school vision board right there. Every it's so funny. I send it to my family, and they're like, "What are you in high school?" But it has, but it has everything that's important to me. My brother, spending time with him, and it does have my business on there. It has my Disney trip, every single trip that we've taken with our family. Like I have pictures of that on there. And like for the holiday trips. That's the visualization side of it for me. But then in my goal book, I have my prophecy letter that I try to read every single day. It puts me back in the mindset of like, what I truly want, who I want to be at the end of the year. Like a man had asked me earlier, like, what is this? What does that one successful thing look like for you at the end of the year? Like it kind of puts me back in that perspective of who I want to grow to be this year. So yeah.
So, the like present tense state, like when you write the story like it's already true,
Mhm.
your brain will actually try to figure out how to make it come true.
Yes.
So you don't have
Yes.
like cognitive dissonance, and people don't really understand the power of that. So for me, that was the 1 year, and I mean, I'm being honest here. I'm not good at doing this every year. But it's crazy. When I went from being a part-time agent to a full-time agent, all I did was I did a statement every day for like not even like I don't even think it was a whole month, y'all. And I just wrote, I'm a $4 million agent. I'm a 4 million, like it's an I am statement. So I love that. Everybody need, is a prophecy letter something you learned somewhere? Or did you just, is that what you call it? I've never heard it called that before.
Yeah, well, my very first mentor called it a prophecy letter, and she wrote a prophecy letter every year. And I was like, this is so silly. Like, I don't know what next year is going to look like, and it does change. But you're right. So I find myself at the end of the year looking back and being like, okay, I haven't done this, and I will try to figure out what I can do to make it happen. Like this year was I spend every other Thursday with my mom. My mom lives in the same town as me, and last year I think we spent maybe 5 whole days together. It's so embarrassing to say that, but it was never intentional. This helps me be more intentional. I made a promise to myself, and I'm following through with it. So yeah, it does put you in that mindset of trying to figure out how to make things happen. And then you get to read it at the end of the year and be like, oh my gosh, like look at everything I did. And it's the small wins and the big wins. It's not just like, okay, I sold 100 homes. Congratulations. I was more intentional about seeing my dad this year. I did my prayer walk just like I said I was going to do every year. Just it puts you back in the mindset of knowing the things that truly matter. It's not just business. It puts you back in the perspective of things that really truly matter.
What I love the most about this is we're interviewing like the top land and ranch agent in the United States, like such a huge deal. And instead of going, this is how I made millions of dollars, you're like, success is I get to see my mom every other Thursday and I get to take my family to Disney. Like at the end of the day, everyone that we talk to, it's like, I want stability of some kind, like some freedom of some kind to be able to do what you want with who you want on your terms. And I feel like it's so relatable. And you're just like, no, just don't take this the wrong way. You're just a regular human with
Yes.
regular goals, and you just do the work and you say yes to opportunities and you just keep saying yes and figuring it out, and doors just keep opening. And yeah, I think that's so inspiring for people.
Well, thank you so much. And I was thinking about that this morning. I said, when I was reading through a question, and it was just like, do you ever have that imposter syndrome? And I think that everyone, and no matter what level of success you've ever experienced, has that like imposter syndrome. I'm sure Elon Musk and Morgan Wallen, like I'm sure they all like, I'm just a regular human trying to figure it out on my own too. But that we put so much weight into what they think. And it's just showing up for ourselves and showing up for our family. I think that's all what it really boils down to. It's not who's going to be there to support you and cheer you along the way. It's, do you believe in yourself? And are you willing to do what it takes to get there? I think those are the two things that we should be asking ourselves every day.
Yeah. And like you said, you made a promise to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think what I hear too is like that this is your identity, right? Like that you've formed who you are, and who you are can have goals and aspirations that you hit and that you miss, and like that's okay. You talked earlier about there are things you don't know, and you're not ever going to know everything, but you've made it part of who you are to be resourceful and put the people in your life that can help you and be resources. And I mean, I'll argue that I don't even like using the label the imposter syndrome. Say, don't call yourself that, right?
Yeah.
Because I love that you're just like this beautiful whole person, and you're willing to say, these are my weaknesses, these are my strengths, and you reflect on that. And I think that can be, again, y'all, she's a badass, right? So anybody who thinks that, you're different than Jessica Ross, you're not. We're all alike, and we all have the same potential to whatever your happy goal is.
Mm-hmm. We all have our strengths,
Yeah.
and just kind of identifying those things is what makes us all stronger.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to take these last 7 minutes and kind of open it up for everyone to get to ask the Jess Ross any questions you have. It can be personal, business, and anything related to this.
I actually have a kind of a comment to say about what you're doing daily. I actually recently bought this book, Ask and It Is Given. I don't
Ooh,
know if you can see it, but my camera, I can put it in the text.
yeah.
But it's learning to manifest your desires.
Mm.
And it's just going back to like the vision boards and just speaking out to existence and taking those daily walks and writing it down. Oh, by the way, I'm Kathleen, everyone. I'm new. I actually wrote like probably 50 times over where I wanted my business to be. And they say to get exact. So actually like was writing down exact
That's it.
numbers. I want to earn
Mhm.
this. I want to earn this. I
Yes.
deserve to earn that. And I made it happen, right? So however it happens for you, but I feel that if you put it out in existence, and you manifest it, it comes true.
I
So,
love that.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
there
great.
it goes. That's a little bit more
There it
clear.
is.
Ask
Okay.
and it's given.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah, and you're right. Like getting granular on your goals, not just being like, I want to be wealthy or I want to,
Yes,
do
yes.
this.
Get
It's
really
getting
specific and
really good.
detailed.
I love that.
Hmm.
That's great.
I'll have to get that book. And I think that then you can, when you're praying, be really specific, or when you're sharing with other people what your goals are, people want to help you hit your goals. But if you don't know what they
Hmm.
are, they don't know how to help. That's so
Yeah.
true.
Yep. 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 100%.
I want to add that I love that Jessica mentioned about not seeing her mom as often as she felt she should have. And she realized that, and I'm saying this because my mom is in heaven now, is I wish I had realized that like you have sooner than later. Because then you think, oh my God, I could have just shifted this around and do this and that. And I always wanted to buy her her own little house, and I didn't get to do that. So those are things that I'm taking and trying to do right now, like really assess. And I love the idea of the prophecy letter because that allowed you to realize, oh my God, I didn't do this enough, or I didn't do this at all. Let me put it into action for the next year and actually see it as if it did happen. I love that concept. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're seeing your mom and your dad more.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
That's
much.
great.
And you're right. Like, I haven't, I guess, given it that kind of thought. But writing that prophecy letter out, whenever you're naming out the people who mean the most, you're attaching goals to them as well, and you're realizing, like, just like we said, us asking for my mom to be, healthier this year. She has some health issues, but then I was like, okay, just her being healthier isn't enough for me. I need to see her more. I need to make an intent, be intentional about it. So you're right. You are kind of noticing the weak link in what you're doing whenever you're writing it out. So that's good. I'm glad you shared that.
Does anyone else have any questions for Jess?
I didn't have a question, but I put it in the link or in the chat. So Suzanne Conrad was one of my teachers. She actually was the goal ambassador for Lululemon. So Lululemon, I worked for them for 9 years. And when you first started at Lululemon, they would have you write out your goals for 10 years, which was a lot because I'm really hard at I'm more like a 5 year, 1 year goal
I
person.
understand.
But they went to her. And so she worked for Lululemon, and they would all the goals for every single person that worked at Lululemon. I don't know, you guys know they're global, right? They're
Yeah.
Dubai and everywhere. And so
Yeah.
they would go and she would keep up with you. She'd be like, how are you doing on your goals, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. So she started this company called after that called I Goal You. And then after
Mhm.
that, now it's called Light Your Leadership. So a lot of what I do and my goaling is kind of based on that. So if you guys look at that link, I sent it in the chat. Um, she has all kinds of classes and things on goals, and she's amazing. She lives in Los Angeles. She's just, and her and her husband are just great people. But she does a lot of very interesting stuff. So if y'all are interested, she's been a mentor of mine for many, many years,
Heck
and she does
yeah.
really interesting stuff. So just wanted to share that there's so many resources out there for different,
I love that.
yeah.
That's so cool.
Lululemon's doing something right.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jess, for your time
Thank
and
you so much for having me today. I appreciate this more than you know.
It's been amazing. If someone wanted to reach out to you, if they had a land and ranch opportunity in your state, or if they wanted to hire you for mentorship, or if they wanted to join your organization at EXP, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
I'm actually going to put my cell phone number in the chat. I would say email me, but we get 1,000 emails every single day, and I will miss that. I promise. I missed your first email, and the most important thing ever, and I miss yours. So I'm literally just going to give you guys my cell phone number. Feel free to reach out to me anytime if you have any land questions. Like, I'm always here. I'll be your number one cheerleader. I'm always here to support, help us grow together. I'm so excited, and again, super appreciative of your time today and for everyone joining.
Thank you so much, Jess. Well,
Thank you, Jess.
you're the best.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Thank you.